Ginger Cosplay, and today I wanted to share a few anime recommendations. These are just a few series that I found really enjoyable, so whether you are just getting into anime and looking for where to start, or you're just looking for a new series to try out, there's something on this list for everyone. So without further ado, here are 7 anime series recommendations. Number 7. Attack on Titan is one of the classic first-time anime series and an obligatory must-see. The action is so intense, and the drama and tragedy begin right out of the gate in the first episode. The opening theme creates so much hype for the show, as it holds an air of pride as well as a crazy guitar solo that will get you so pumped for the action. This show is really compelling as it has some surprising twists, as it follows series protagonist Eren Yeager in his quest to join the Scout Regiment in order to destroy all the Titans. It can be pretty suspenseful because no one is safe from death, and it really feels all the more realistic because the stakes are so high and so many people do die in this show. It also shows the family members dealing with the news of their loved one's murder, so it can be pretty heavy and emotional, but the series does show a lot of respect for its characters, and it never takes a character's death for granted. Altogether, this show is really good. It is a little bit overdone just because it's been around for so long, but it does live up to its praise, so it's definitely worth checking out. Number 6. Death Note is another obligatory anime series that everyone is expected to have seen. But again, like Attack on Titan, it does live up to its praise in the way that this show depicts the protagonist as the villain, who starts off with the most pure intentions. Light simply wants to make the world a better place by getting rid of the world's worst criminals. It's only when he starts to obtain a god complex and believes himself to be the ultimate judge over humanity that he really does turn into the clear bad guy. It's also interesting to see how the show makes Light morally ambiguous. For most of the series, I was on his side, and his actions had me contemplating what I would do if I had the Death Note in my possession. This show does an amazing job at keeping you engaged, and you never really know who's going to win in the end, Light or the police. It's a great crime drama with some great supernatural element by having Ryuk the Shinigami and the Death Note itself integrated flawlessly into the story. And they also do a great job at creating organic suspense that will keep you invested in the plot until the very end. Overall, it's a pretty good show, and I would definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't yet. Number 5. Black Butler is a revenge detective crime drama historical fiction that focuses on young Lord CL Phantomhive and his companion Sebastian Michaelis, who is one hell of a butler. The majority of the show is just about CL acting as the Queen's private detective, solving various mysteries and helping the police with cases they are unable to handle themselves. The show has a lot of villain of the week kind of episodes, but our attention is always brought back to the main plot, which is about CL using his contract with Sebastian in order to find out who is responsible for the murder of his parents and to take his revenge. The overall story is pretty basic, but the character interactions between CL and Sebastian are really interesting. Even though both characters are motivated by their own personal desires, there are a few moments in the show that we can catch a glimpse of some true caring between these characters. The conclusion to the original series, I thought, was really fantastic. It finishes everything that was set up in the beginning of this season and accomplishes the end goals for both the core characters. It is one of the instances that I actually truly enjoyed the ending of a series. And that's very rare because I'm very picky on how they end things in shows most of the time. But for those who are needing a little bit more from the show, there is a season 2 that provides an interesting alternative ending to the series. I personally did not prefer this one over the original, but I didn't regret seeing it. Overall, this show is really good, and I would definitely recommend it for everybody. It has a lot of good dynamics and balance between light and dark moments throughout the show, and it is something that everybody can enjoy. Number 4. Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works is a battle royale kind of series that follows Shiro Emiya and Rin Tosaka, two of the 7 mages competing in the Holy Grail War in order to win the coveted cup and be granted a wish. The 7 mages are accompanied by a heroic spirit of either a saber, an archer, a lancer, a rider, a caster, a berserker, or an assassin class servant. This is a really good series that plays with the idea of whether or not humanity is worth saving and asks the question if humanity can be saved at all. This idea comes to light quite frequently through Shiro Emiya, as his main character goal is to become a hero and be capable of rescuing people, like his adopted father always spoke about. And because of the horrors Shiro saw as a child, wants to make up for the disasters of his youth. So of course, because Shiro is pro-life, his counterpart Tosaka has to be comfortable with the process of death. She continues to repeat throughout the series that she will win the Holy Grail War at any cost. In the end, there are some fun and unexpected outcomes to many of the storylines in this series, and I personally found the ending to be very rewarding and pleasant, with a very strong outlook for the future. This is an enjoyable series that I would recommend to anybody who likes the battle royale style genre that isn't too gory or graphic, with a light touch of magic. Number 3. The Future Diary is another more graphic battle royale survival series with 12 competitors all fighting for the privilege to become the new god after the current one, Deus Ex Machina, dies. The story follows teenage social outcast Yuki, who in the beginning believes that Deus and his servant Murmur are simply imaginary friends that he created in order to alleviate his loneliness, until his cell phone turns into his own personal future diary and the game to decide who will be the next god has begun. The other main character, who is probably the most intriguing and in-depth, is Yuno. She is completely obsessed with Yuki and does everything that she can to keep him alive. Yuno is such a dynamic character, and it is both a pleasure and a horror to learn about her background and to find out how psychotic she really is. Overall, this show is incredible. The theme song is so fantastic, you just want to put it on replay, specifically the cover by Plique. The side characters are decent, Murmur is always fun to watch in her little end of show segments, and the plot twists are incredibly intense and surprising that there is no way to suppose beforehand where the show is going to end. This series is an absolute must-see and could even be worthy of an annual rewatch. Number 2. Death Parade is an amazing and unconventional anime with only 12 episodes. It uses its time well to deal with some very difficult and complex emotions and essentially the acceptance of dying. The concept of this show is when 2 people die, they enter a sort of waiting room in the form of a bar where the bartender, or better known as arbiter, decides whether the person's soul will be sent to reincarnate or to be sent to the void and destroyed forever. The way they judge this is by having 2 people play various games against one another, such as bowling, darts, arcade games, various games like that, so that the arbiter can evaluate each person and determine which fate they deserve. This show is unique in the sense that we as the watchers don't know who the main protagonist is. She simply shows up at the beginning of the show and is sent to work with one of the arbiters, Decim, in the Quindecim to judge the souls. It is not until the last 2 episodes that we discover who she is, what her story is, and find out her significance. This show does a great job at making us care about the characters and brings up a lot of hard-to-answer questions, like, are some people's actions, even horrible actions, ever justifiable if done out of love? And can a person's true personality be judged at all through just their actions when we don't know their past or motivations? Though this show tackles some pretty heavy concepts, it does have a good balance and provides some comedic relief as well as some peaceful imagery to give the watchers a break from all of the intensity. The art style is also so beautiful. Who wouldn't want to go hang out in the Quindecum and have some martinis? For these reasons, Death Parade is a must-see and makes it to the number 2 spot on this list. Number 1. Warning, this one is super biased. Soul Eater makes it to the number 1 spot on this list simply because it's such an amazing show and I love it so much. Like I said in my Gateway Anime video, Soul Eater was the series that really got me back into anime as an adult. It has all the best components of an action-adventure supernatural series. It has a great plot, magic, amazing battles, the coolest power teams, specifically Maka and Soul, and substantial conflict. The story follows 3 Meisters and their weapons, attending the DWMA and working towards turning their weapons into death scythes for the Grim Reaper. It's a really fun series and the aesthetic is amazing and creative, with the entire show design drawing inspiration from Halloween. It is on the more childish side of anime, but it's still extremely enjoyable and does contain some heavier scenes as well. Without being too redundant, the characters in this show are incredibly deep. Like I said in my other video, Maka, Kid, and Stein are great role models, and Stein and Kid in particular are great representations of pushing through mental illness, working through anxiety and OCD, still being able to be strong and powerful people. However, I actually missed one of the most pivotal characters when it comes to Soul Eater representing mental illness, Krona. Krona is very badly abused as a child and forced to become evil by his mother, and is left in solitary confinement multiple times to train Krona to be evil. Some of the most powerful and touching moments in this show is Maka trying to undo all of the awful treatment of Krona's childhood and help integrate Krona into being comfortable in social settings and gain positive social skills to make real friends. Also, have you noticed that I haven't used any gender pronouns for Krona? Well, that is because the series creator never gave Krona a definitive gender. In the show, they do refer to Krona as him, but in the manga, Krona is commonly referred to as it. This could also be a really encouraging message Soul Eater gives to its audience, that gender doesn't make any difference and who you are on the inside is what really matters. Also, all the music in this show is really amazing and you can just watch it for that. Anyways guys, those were just a few anime series recommendations. Leave a comment down below if you've checked any of these series out and let me know what you think. Or leave a recommendation of your own. It's always nice to find new series to try out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Ginger Cosplay and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!